I'm here on the ground in Singapore where we're talking about women in the workplace. Women account for 50% of the world's working age population, but generate just 37% of GDP. In Asia Pacific, women make up just 12.4% of all board seats. Something about those numbers doesn't add up. But what does it mean? What are the implications for Asia Pacific's future growth and economic stability if that gap isn't narrowed? Well, to find out what corporates here in Singapore are doing to level up the playing field, we sat down with some of Singapore's business leaders and speakers at this year's Women's Forum Asia to find out just what the landscape looks like.
Things have definitely improved in terms of the Singapore landscape, Singapore companies, Singapore organizations, across the board, specifically in the areas of diversity and inclusion. Definitely there's growing awareness. There's still work to be done, obviously, in actual implementation.
The traditional arguments that women are not cut out to be engineers and scientists and so on. I think that has gone. I think most male leaders today would say they don't have an objection. They don't have an objection to more women in senior management and on boards. But it's a double negative. They don't have an objection to it, rather than have the view that in fact it is good for the company and it benefits the company.
In order to develop a future-ready organizations, we really need to include, we need to be diversified, we need to in diversity of opinions, not just gender, race, ethnicity.
We know that if women have access to the same tools and to the same resources and opportunities than men, it benefits everyone, not just the women themselves, but also their family, their community. It boosts productivity. It also helps towards income equality. And ultimately, it creates economic diversification.
So how do we shift the culture and narrative in industries such as technology, finance, governance even, to place greater emphasis on female voices as professionals and consumers?
We're actually investing in building the pipeline of future female leaders. And it starts young. It starts with girls in school. So we run programs that outreach to girls in the schools across Singapore that encourage them to take up STEM subjects. We see this as a way to get them into male-dominated industries and companies, and eventually helping to narrow that gender pay gap that we all know does exist.
Most consumers are half female. And so having that representation in the executive team and also the board is very, very important, because the buyers are not just men. They are female, they are the family.
Today we know that there's 250 million fewer women that are online than men, and that is a big gap, right? Internet and access to online is oxygen. It allows people, especially women, to access information, to know about their human rights, to even start a business.
So let's fast forward. We've heard a lot and often hear a lot about how and why diversity and inclusion is crucial in the future growth map of businesses in Singapore, Asia Pacific, and even the world. But what does an inclusive future actually look like?
Gender and ideas. Diversity of ideas. I think now that I have such a diverse workforce, we as a team, as a leadership team, and as a company have so many more ideas and better ideas, and we move much faster.
I think an inclusive future, for me, is one where you really have the benefits of creativity, resilience, and sense of belonging that is created when all the disparate members of a society, including the outliers, all feel that they can contribute to that society.
Angela Merkel say, if I wear the same dress for 3 days, people is going to start talking about it. But for all the guys, nobody talk about it. I said, that's great. That's where red dresses, that's where pink dresses, that people talk about this. Because the more visibility we have, the more opportunity we can raise our agenda, we can share our mindset, and we can make a difference. Ideal way is one day we don't even need to talk about this, because everyone will be so used to pink dresses and red dresses.
Now we're handing over to you. How do we shift the narrative when it comes to diversity and inclusion as it pertains to gender, but of all voices? How is your business looking to shift the needle? Share your stories and experiences in the comments below, and stay with us as we share more insights from Women's Forum Asia taking place in Singapore. See you soon.